Hello, today I'm gonna read part 3 of this book that's called The Footballer from Outer Space. And I'm at chapter 6 and I'm gonna read the whole book for you now, okay? Now I'm gonna read 6. Jethro. Tom's dad was a big-chested, tall man whose bulky overalls made him look even bigger. Tom did his best to look innocent. You've put the tractor away for me. Thanks, said Mr. Campbell cheerfully. Phew, he missed the racing then, but Mr. Campbell's eyes got used to the dimness of the workshop. He realized that somebody else was standing beside him. Jethro, he said. Didn't see you there for a moment. What can I do for you, my friend? Tom gave a start. Jethro Burgess was a small holder from just over the hill who always wore the same ragged old pullover. He was an old mate of his dad, a great tub of a bloke with a big sunburnt bald head and always pooping in for a chat. Whenever he met Tom, he had a habit of covering the boy's head with one huge rough hand. Suddenly Tom felt his skull getting a squeeze like a balloon. He was here, but how on earth did he? The penny dropped. It was Wayne. Somehow he puffed himself up like a balloon and morphed into their neighbor. As always was saying it to Tommy boy, here came a voice almost exactly like Jethro, only more on one note. The case on this here pump is leaking oil. Don't suppose you've got a bit of fuel up that I will seal him. Mr. Campbell cooked his ear as he always did when Jethro started gabbling and stopped to looking at the top pump. The glow of it was fading a bit, but it still gave us some light. Well, I'm darned if I've seen anything like this, he said, turning it in his fingers, sealed until, said Wayne Jethro, grabbing it back. Do you mind if I have a bit of rummage on your workbench? I need to fix it in a hurry. See, help yourself, said Mr. Campbell, scratching. He said Jethro dipped his fingers into some paint and gave them a lick. Nope, he sucked at the neck of an oil can. Nope, he grabbed a can of weedy fruity and squared some up his nostril. Nope, a bottle of terpene slurp. Nope. It was getting more and more frantic. None of this is any use. Weak looks like I'm Zizort then. What do you mean, Zizort? Asked Mr. Campbell. You feeling all right? Jethro, old boy, just a bit fuddled, came the answer. Thomas, take Jethro into the house and ask Mom to put the kettle on. Meanwhile, I will have a look and see if I can lay my hands on something that might do a signal. Go ahead, I will join you in a tick. 7. Crouching cakes. As Tom and Wayne stepped into the warm kitchen, Tom's mom had her back to them and was turning out a fruit cake to a plate. Trust you smell cake, Thomas, as she said with a laugh. Then she noticed a complication. Oh, hello, Bertil, she said, tidying up her hair. Haven't you seen you for ages? Oh gosh, you haven't been overdoing it, have you? You're looking rather pale, Bertil thought Tom, and then he twinked that Wayne had morphed into Albert Kenningston, the swooshed kid in his class. Yes, well, I came to pick Tom's brain, Mr. Campbell, said Wayne. Bertil, he highly intelligently, you know. Really, said Tom's mom, going all pink and pleased. Will you have a slice of cake, Bertil? Cake beep noted smashing, said Winnie Bertil. Would you mind telling me precisely how it's conserved? Well, I can tell you the ingredients if that's what you mean, said Mr. Campbell. She reached for her cookbook and began to rattle them off. Wayne noted them as he did so, lift the plate with his slice of cake on it and took a huge bite out of both Thomas. Nearly pooped out air. Can we have some of this plum jam on top, Mom? He said, gladly trying to drown the sound of when he crouched in China. He reached for one of the nearly filled jam jars next to the stove. Mom stopped reading out the list of ingredients and to wait. Uh-oh, now we're for it, thought Tom. But Mom went on, that's far too hot. Let me get you some I made yesterday. Here she bent down and took a jar of cupboard, which gave Tom a try to send a thought message about not eating plates. A month later, Mom was spreading generous spoonfuls of rich red sticky sweetness over the top of the remains of her cake with the words, it's nice and thick. I put extra pencil in it. Would you like another slice, Bertel? Lady Bertel leaned over and gave the jam on her cake a good lick and a long blue tongue. Bertel, cried Mom, that's disgusting. How dare you? Okay, and Wayne, let's go, Tom. With that, he stuffed the rest of his slice plate and all into his mouth, grabbed Tom by the scruff of the neck and hoisted him out of the door. 8 mates. Now I'm at chapter 8, and it's not so much to read. I'm reading to chapter 9, and then it's done. So I'm gonna read more. 8 mates. Well, there's one good thing, thought Tom as he peeled away into back down the lane towards the common. At least Mom won't be inviting Bertil to a tea in a hurry. He heard humming behind him. He's working again, my doctor, cried Wayne. That jam was just a job. I was the pencil in it. How come? Puffed Tom. Heteropulse herring, said Wayne. What, it's a type of carbohydrate, explained the Wayne. You get it on Earth, but I didn't realize you have it here on Earth too. If you heat it to about 180 degrees centigrade, the molecules tangled together in a chain made up of galactronic sugar acid until it's amazing. I see, said Tom. I love to be honest, he didn't have a clue what Wayne was on about. By now they were back at the spacecraft and Wayne lived on death to reconnect the thought pump as he repaired the Tom said rather sadly. It would be off of now, I suppose. Yeah, well, that's a shame because I was really hoping to include you to my mates. He didn't speak the rest of what is his mind. Mate, said Wayne thoughtfully. You're my mate, right? That's right. You wait till I tell him back home. That's really special, that is. When he glanced up at his stomach, going back to Tom. Well, look, there's a few more degrees for the Earth to rotate before 0 hours, so I can't see any harm in doing what you want me to do. Say, besides, I owe you one because you've given me some brilliant Earth flags to take back to Earth with me. Like what's asked Tom, like pigs for a start, beautiful and Mom and barns and your transporter BMXs and tractors and sheep and rabbits and crows, and then there's hedgehogs and trees, and more important than that lot there's cake and colors and plum jam, not to mention mates and football. Wow, it's been great finding out what the mate is. And do you know what I love to try to think about before I take off? 9. The goal no one will forget. And so it was Tom came to be hiding in the long grass in the shadow of the old cricket pavilion on Spear Marsh Common, watching himself, or rather somebody who looked and sounded very much like him challenge his footballing mates over on the practice pitch. "Whoa, where did you get them fancy boots from, Tom?" somebody yelled. So Wayne had decided to keep his own footwear on them. "Yeah, you may laugh," he heard Wayne say to Peter as the whole crowd of boys gathered around, "but I am prepared to take on the lot of you." "Oh, you're prepared, are you, Tom?" said Harley. "Prepared to get murdered, more like," putting Kyle with the heart of laughter. "With first to 5, said Wayne, putting his head on one side just as Tom did when he got serious. Then I've got to be well somewhere else. Look, I will go with Tom, give him a bit of chance, said Ned, stepping up alongside Wayne. Good old Ned. He didn't want Tom to make too much of a fool of himself. "No, you're all right," said Wayne. "That's nice of you, but no thanks. I want to take on the lot of you together if you don't mind." "All right with everyone if I kick off. Ready when you are," called Tom, jogging back to take up his Unser defense potion in front of Loggy. And kick off Wayne did. He moved so fast it seemed hardly to touch the grass as he zigzagged among the screaming opposition players. Yet when anybody tried to get a tackle, he could stop and turn. In a split second, he jigged his way past the whole lot of them and walked the ball over the goal line before toe-pocking it up to shake the net. "Oh, not fair. We are ready, mourned Loggy, being to pick the ball up. "Sorry, thought you were," said Tom. "Look, Alky, why don't you kick off this time?" And this time the home side decided to play keep ball, spreading out and slipped passages back and forth while Tom skipped from side to side, watching and waiting. If anyone had taken a moment to look at the ice that followed the ball, they would have seen them revolving like miniature blue planters. Nobody except him to get back in time to defend his goal, but Tom was suddenly there, right in the middle of it. He kicked up his leg and smoothed Harley his crack issue with a cushioned side foot so that it dropped stone dead just in front of him. While Harley stood stunned, Tom slipped the ball through his open legs and away. He didn't hurry. He let the players come at him in turn, and just when they thought they had the ball, he could slip them a dummy and roll it away under his boot. The 5th goal was something neither Tom nor his mates would ever forget. Wayne was on the halfway line, and Lanky gave the slidey, throwing himself full length to capture the ball. It was dangerous tackle. Even thought no studs were involved. It could have done real damage to the ankle of any normal kid. Tom wasn't bothered one bit. He gave the ball a little tick over the flying legs and let Gabby crash past like a 6 thundering bell. There were no 6 places between the kid on the ball and the goal. If there was any backswing, nobody saw it, but suddenly in one flowing move, Tom lifted the ball knee level and voiled it kerboom over the heads of the lot of them. Loggy made one of his famous death-defying leaps, but the ball curled away from his flapping hand and flew right into the top corner of the goal. Blimey, what? Wow, Fluck. Where did that come from? Wayne couldn't resist it. It came from outer space, yelled as he punched there. He pulled his t-shirt over his head and danced away over the pitch until he disappeared from sight. In real Tom looked the opportunity to creep away. He's gone, he thought sadly, with how very rubbish he was at football in future. At least his mates would never be able to forget how he rings round a lot of them on this amazing afternoon. But what about the celebration, taking his t-shirt off and waving it about was one thing, but they never know why it looked like Tom had painted himself blue all over. That was all of this book, and I hope you enjoyed this book. And this book was good, fun, easy to read, and interesting. And my best character was, I don't know even who my best character was, but that was all the whole book of this book. But this is the same person that wrote Goldly Super Hamster. It is the same person that wrote Goldly Super Hamster. And bye bye.